streaming. Yeah, the Discord event started that, and it said that it's live.
now.
So hello, I already
Hey.
hit live. It's an interesting start today. I'm sorry for everybody who thought we were going to do 3 o'clock because this is the typical date. But as I updated on Discord,
Things happened.
I made a little boohoo and I scheduled a second meeting for a little bit too close. So yeah, I'm sorry. In 2 weeks we will be back on schedule, but in old fashion, we're here and somewhat are doing this mainly to be here, to give you the opportunity to talk to us and to actually be here together. I'm sorry if you forgot to read or was not available for the update. Okay. Well then, Daniel.
Yes.
You wanted to talk more about Portmaster since we have kept on talking about SPN the last couple of times. So please be my guest, update the people on what's going on with Portmaster.
Okay. Are you referring to something specific? Because
I'm not.
5 minutes ago you said you're gonna just talk about anything. So
Yeah. No, we can. We absolutely can. I'm just telling you.
So what is happening in Portmaster? We are tuning to stabilize things. There are a couple of things with the installers that I'm trying to get fixed. So
I saw that.
That is happening.
I saw that. What's
we had an issue on the infrastructure for reporting bugs. That's now fixed. So
I'm getting more emails again.
That's good. Okay, that's good.
But maybe an update there as well. If you thought did it throw an error, because I was expecting a couple of.
That's the super weird one.
No, in Portmaster.
Yeah, exactly. That's a super weird one because the issue we're having is that something is slow in the process of submitting bug reports. So, and on the Portmaster, you do get an error message, but it's in the corner, and it would have come 20 seconds after you press the button. So chances are you didn't see it, and we're changing that in the UI. So we there's a persistent window that will show you the status of your submission, just so we're really sure, and you can be really sure that this happened or did not happen, to avoid any confusion in this process. So sorry, like if you've sent a bug report recently and you haven't heard back from us, please ping us just in case. So we're now waiting for a reply to something we did not receive. This was a bit weird, but this is fixed now. Sorry for any confusion that caused. And in the future, this will be a lot clearer in the UI if your bug report was submitted successfully or not.
which has been something that we have been sort of like trying to work through in the UI as well, being clear about what you just wanted to do actually happen. Yeah. And sort of like we weren't aware in that regard that this might be an issue there as well. So we're not ghosting. We're sorry if you have sent it. Since like from a time frame perspective, when did we realize this and how long back could this have been like a ticket half a year ago as well, or is
No.
Exactly?
This is just, I think at least 1 or 2 weeks. We don't know exactly when that started to happen. We noticed ourselves at some point because we were implementing that functionality for Android, for the Android app. And it worked at first, but then at some point it stopped working. We don't know when that was exactly, but 1 or 2 weeks at least, maybe more. Yeah. That's the time frame we're looking at here.
Yeah. So two shout outs. I'm again keeping track of the YouTube chat. Daniel is keeping track of the Discord chat. But we have two messages. Blind was telling us that our audio was too quiet. Thanks for that. And he already said it's better now. If we should turn it up a little more, let us know. Also, if we're not the same volume, we switched audio devices again, and I hope it's better now. My wife told me that we have been out of sync for the last episode, and I'm a person with... No, please don't. No, it's... Okay.
That's cool.
Okay.
We have a new thing that kind of combines our audio now, so...
Exactly. Ooh. And we used to run through multiple sound cards, so we had a little desync there, and I was not able to listen to us afterwards. And my wife texted me, but I could not do anything last time. So if we're out of sync or anything, please let us know. So thank you, Blind, for raising this, and thank you, Quality Games, for he just swung by and said he loves what we're fighting for. Thank you. Yeah, it's people like you all why we're doing it. We're doing it, of course, for us as well and for our families. But it's great, and thank you for sharing that.
We're doing it for ourselves, but we don't want to keep it to ourselves. We want everyone to enjoy the same thing that we are.
Yeah, that's true.
To have privacy.
And Dash is back again. Greetings, Dash.
Hey there.
Yeah, he's asking since when do we stream earlier. I'm so thankful that you did not see the stumble we had at the beginning. Well, it's a mishap on my end. I sort of like misaligned some meetings for today, so I pulled it in earlier. But yeah, I think I updated the live stream thing in YouTube, and I updated it in Discord as well. We will stick with 3 o'clock in 2 weeks, and I hope next time I'll check the calendar properly before. So yeah, back to the report thing. I sort of am missing a couple of debug information requests. So I guess, and they did not raise the issue. They did not tell me that they got an error message. So I assume a lot of people sent in bug reports and stuff or like suggestions, and did not saw the error message. So yeah, this was important.
Yeah.
Can we do a broadcast notification for that? Does it raise to the occasion of a broadcast notification?
That's a good idea. I can check if there's like some way to narrow down the request. I don't like on top of my mind we don't have the data available on the client to know stuff like that.
No. But, as a reminder, broadcast notifications, so we can send out sort of like it's a text file that your portmaster pulls and then checks locally if it should display to you.
So yeah, we can kind of have a mechanism to reach out to users anonymously.
Yeah.
So we can just kind of send a message to every one of our users, but then portmaster locally decides if that is relevant for that user or not.
Yeah.
Based on the criteria that we define and the local data that portmaster has on itself.
Yeah. So if you change the setting, which we're going to change in the future, we can let you know that the setting will change, and not everybody will see it. Only the people who have changed the setting. But it's not us knowing that you changed the setting. It's your portmaster knowing that you changed the setting. So it displays it the information to you.
For example, something else that happened in portmaster is that we now allow so we have this automatic update system, and we now allow so we always allowed to disable it, but now you can disable software updates separate from the intelligence updates, which means filter lists. That's currently in the beta version.
Oh, yeah, I did not know.
So that's something we
getting some news here.
We had to implement in order to support Android better. So that's not in there, and which means you can disable software updates, but enable intelligence updates. So for people who don't want to auto update but still want to get the Intel feed, they can now do that. And so we also have a broadcast notification active that when you upgrade to that version and you have automatic updates disabled, it will tell you, hey, it's now split into two, and the software updates stay disabled, but Intel updates are now enabled. Ooh. If you don't want that, please change it. Mm-hmm. So kind of because it's not clear, the intent is not clear of the user, what we wanted to have disabled, but the primary concern we heard, or the only concern we heard from people, is just kind of the software updates, not the Intel updates.
Software updates potentially breaking stuff and so on, and you want to keep the system as it is for as long as you can to make sure that everything runs and works together. And the Intel updates, that's stuff like if there is a new tracker out there, we push that information onto the filter lists, and the Intel update is an update of the filter list, so that your portmaster can very quickly resolve that for you and block those connections. Blind has been asking a question. You want to finish your thought?
Yeah, I will finish that. What's also really cool about that system is that as long as you have the Intel updates enabled, portmaster will still check for updates and will give a notification when there's something new to update. So you can manually then choose to update. You don't have to kind of check for yourself, but portmaster will tell you there's an update, but it will not download and apply it. It will wait for you to tell it to do so. And of course, if you disable both software and Intel updates, then portmaster will not contact safing servers for updates. It will not.
Will it, when you hit update, download the Intel data?
Yeah, if you hit update, it'll download everything.
Okay.
So the download updates button updates everything and applies everything.
Applies as well. Okay.
Well, as far as it can, but after you restart portmaster, it definitely will. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So that's definitely a big improvement. A lot of people have been waiting for that. So that's really nice that we can finally provide that. And also kind of give people that are a bit cautious with updates, we can still give them the Intel feeds and have them protected as good as possible. Yeah. And of course, if there is like a really critical security update, we will use the broadcast notification system to notify people about that, and you will still receive the broadcast notification because that's part of the Intel updates. So you will receive the broadcast notification telling you there's a really important update to download, and you can do that. Of course, if you've turned them completely off, you won't notice. So we really encourage you to enable the Intel updates because that keeps you protected and up to date if needed.
Yeah. Dash is asking what are reasons for staying without updates on older versions. I think as a regular user, I don't see any reasons. It's mainly people who are cautious and who are having complex systems, and they don't want to update. There are security risks involved with this. It's I think security experts mostly agree that updating is sort of a requirement, but I don't know, Dash, which operating system you're running, but there are still people out there who are running Windows 7 and are like, no, I will never update. And there are so many vulnerabilities in Windows 7 already, and they're not fixed because it's out of date. They're end of life. There is no update. XP has gotten very famously for the WannaCry bug and update, even though it has been end of life for quite a time, but just because it was so critical and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people who are running older software and just want to keep it as it is. And so I'm sort of like, that's them, and that's okay. And from our perspective, we sort of like went, well, if this is good for them, then they should be able to get the Intel data even without updating the software.
It's a lot about stability. So if you're running multiple systems and you have like stuff to do, then you don't want an update to kind of mess with your kind of workflow. So you want to kind of have one time per week or month, like the famous Patch Tuesday from Microsoft, where you actually have set time aside just to do updates and fix things if they break. So that's also a common reason why people would want to kind of wait a little bit.
Because you said Patch Tuesday. That's the second Tuesday of the month. If you don't know, Microsoft pushes most updates second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, sometimes that's mostly enterprise thing.
Yeah,
not sure how much it applies to consumer stuff, but mostly enterprise. That's kind of when every sysadmin blocks their calendar that day so that I can install all the updates. Because of course, if updates fix security issues, the attackers, the bad guys, get that updates too. They reverse engineer the updates. They find out what the security issue is and create malware to attack these systems. So as soon as the update is out, you want to have it as soon as possible. So that's why there's Patch Tuesday, so that everyone can block their calendars and react to that.
Yeah. So, question from Blind. But I also wanted to say hi to Quatrix, and I guess the picture is the same. So I guess I know who you are. And nice to see you on the stream as well. But the question from Blind. My question might be really noobish, but does Portmaster use its own DNS resolver? If yes, does that mean there is no need to install something like Quad 9 in case you're familiar with it?
The answer is yes and yes. Quad 9 is one of our default options, so you can just go in settings, press on, go to DNS server, click quick settings, select Quad 9, you're good to go.
It even asks you during install.
Yeah. If you've seen it during the intro slides, you can set it there too.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, do you still run Quad 9 as your default?
I do.
You do? Okay, because I switched back.
I had to reinstall. I have to check.
Okay, mine had issues. Like last week, I think Quad 9, it might have been on their end, but because when I switched to Cloudflare, everything was fast again. So I'm not sure. Yeah, and we had issues with Quad 9 in the past as well, which is why we're in Cloudflare. Cloudflare has been much faster.
Yeah, but I've been using Quad 9 for at least a year now, and it was just really smooth sailing. So it also depends like where you are, like which network is closer. Yeah.
And you can of course configure your own DNS in there as well, and maybe just to get that out there as well. Like safing, like Portmaster still sees the local configured DNS, and it would still try to resolve some domains there if there cannot be found with the upstream, because like for local stuff, like if you're in a business setting or in a school setting where you have a local domain which would resolve in your local, like on a local server, it still connects to that. You can disable this, but it's on by default.
It does split horizon DNS. So if your network is configured correctly, then the network will tell your operating system which domains kind of it owns, and Portmaster uses information to route that DNS requests to your DNS server in your home. These .local, not the local is a special again, but like there's these couple like router vendors that have this .fritzbox, if you know that in Germany, or others, kind of local only domain names.
Dash says like, hopefully Quad 9 works in the future. Damn Sony to try to screw them with lawsuit.
Yeah. I'm so looking kind of forward, not kind of a bit with fear how this will turn out and what will happen, because that kind of turns around like all the basic principles we've set up so far as a society, how to handle the internet in regards to like rights and liability. That's also like, of course, we as Safing are, and like the laws in Austria are very clear. And the fun thing about the EU is that when we operate a service from Austria within the EU, we only have to follow Austrian law, and that makes us legal in the whole EU. So we can be, Safing services can be legal in another EU country where it would be illegal to run it from there. So that's a fun thing, but yeah, that's how kind of the youth makes things easier. It's the same for cars, by the way. Like if there's a car that's allowed in one country of the EU, you by law are allowed to use this car in every other country of the EU.
Yeah.
Even though if it would not be okay according to regulations of the other country.
Yeah. Which of course means in Austria we see people with like cars from somewhere else because our laws are fairly high in that regard. Yeah. Okay, Blind said thanked and was like the Quad 9 install process seemed really complicated. And this is exactly what we set out to have, an easy install. And I think I think we this still is the thing where we're like, okay, good, we want to make it as easy as possible to get to the starting point. And we know that Portmaster is complicated inside, and we're sort of like thinking about making the simple mode simpler, showing less in the simple mode, so that you sort of like can get a grasp easier of what's going on in a simple mode. And then when you hit advance, the information will actually increase more meaningfully. Sort of like to then progress there, and then sort of like if you understand those two, then maybe SPN is then the next step, and so on. So that you're sort of like grow in your privacy, that Portmaster grows with you in your privacy journey, and that the stepping stone is fairly easy, fairly quick, and then is there if you want to learn more. And I think with the little things, we try to make it easy to sort of like to explain, and that so that you understand what's going on, like with this setting.
Also learn in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you like did not understand something, please let us know. Like those tip ups, as we sometimes call them. Like we're thinking about redoing some of them.
Yeah. Improving the flow.
Yeah. But of course, like that's a lot of work. There are so many of them, and if you don't understand something, just ask. Let us know. Send us an email with a screenshot or something, and we can figure out easier where people sort of like don't understand what's going on and stuff like that. Great. Other stuff. So you talked about the update thing. We talked about quickly about like broadcast notifications. You talked about the Android app.
I talked about the Android app, that's true.
Yeah, something like, so the split thing was due to Android, so that Android can receive
only Intel updates.
Only Intel updates.
It of course only needs Intel updates because Android is a lot more bundled in, and we can't just update one part of the components. We always have to update the full thing, which I think I'm not sure like how big it is currently, but it's not that small. I was a bit surprised how big it was.
Of course, so not optimized yet.
You have to kind of download that every time, and which means that desktop updates are smaller than the mobile updates, which is like weird. Because the desktop version is just more optimized, and we can a lot more selectively update things there.
Can this be due to F-Droid as well? Because I think that at least in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, I think they do some diff and then only download the things that changed.
Possibly. The thing is also with Android is that it normally ships multiple architectures within the same file. So that can also lead to bigger sizes. Yeah. Depending on like how it's configured and how it's working. I'm thinking about the other things that happened. There was one more thing. I forgot that now.
But like just
so, yeah. No, okay. So one thing that we're also doing that's coming to beta today or tomorrow morning, we'll see, is an option to enable to use the DNS cache a lot more. So you'll always use entries from the DNS cache instead of kind of ignoring if they expired or not, and then get the new records in the background. So if you are having issues with like slow DNS resolving, that could be because there's an issue on your network. That could be because there's an issue with the provider, or you're just in a location on the world that is just really like far away from the provider you want to use, so it's really slow. This can speed up your DNS requests a lot. Of course, that's not exactly internet standard, so you might have weird connection issues here and there, but mostly it will work and it will speed up your connections a lot. So,
or we think that it will mostly work. This is why we're sort of like
we're
slow rolling it,
because
exactly.
We're
not
kind
enabling
of
it by default.
Outside of internet standard. You never know what happens. So the internet is a big place, and there's so many weird things on the internet, like just weird content too. But I'm referring to weird like internet devices that behave weird with different networks and packets, and yeah. So so that's something we that's going on, just kind of to improve usability and stability. So a lot of our resources go into that kind of improving the stability and compatibility and user experience right now. We just want to we want you to have a really great, stable, and straightforward experience. That's why you're seeing, I was seeing a lot of features going out last time, because we want you to have a great experience with what is there right now, and if we get closer to that, then we'll continue again with new shiny stuff, because we don't want a lot of new shiny stuff or a lot of breaks. We want to have a stable, great experience, and then we can build on that.
Yeah, I think Esko was it on the Discord who somebody asked about how is Portmaster currently like doing, and he's like 107 to 111 was all bug fixes.
Yeah,
and I think in beta it's already 1012.
Yeah, 1012, 1013 is coming very soon.
Yeah.
And so 1012 is the first one with the new update system, with the approved one. So I don't want to just push that to stable, because if that breaks, shit. So I want to do one update cycle just with the beta users, and then that's going to stable. Yeah.
Good to know, as guinea pigs. But yeah, so very cool, yeah. No. The beta channel and stuff is something you can have a look. Like I think on the Discord we have links to there, or you can look in the docs. I think it's under how can you help us improve Portmaster, or how can you help save things section, because people in the beta, as you know, like there's nothing, like there's no analytics anywhere in Portmaster, also in the beta channel. But if you run the beta, you can sort of like send reports. You can let us know if you find something, and stuff like that. And we sort of like in the past have, had this weird issue where stuff has been in beta for quite a long time. I think we sort of are over this now.
That it's kind of like things that like don't happen a lot. But if it happens, it's devastating. So we have these kind of bugs, and so we tested them quite a lot in beta, and before we put them to stable. So yeah, it's just depending like how much testing something needs. We keep things in beta a bit longer or shorter.
But if you are, that is actually helping us. So please consider. Going
definitely.
Join the beta channel.
It's not like it's not gonna crash your system or something. It is most versions just go to stable afterwards. It's not often that we actually decide to not release to stable and push another fix. And the cool thing is, if something breaks in beta, you can just switch back to stable, and you're back at the working version. Which, if we don't find a bug in beta and we release to stable, then everyone has it. And then, of course, we can still issue a downgrade for all users, but then we kind of have to weigh that more carefully depending on like what changes and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier with a small group in beta than with all the users.
Blind still asked if there's an Android version, or like it was more like a question which you, I guess, already have the answer to. But yes, like there is, like the question is there an Android version in planning? Yes, the Android version is in beta in the F-Droid store already.
But our own repo, so you have to, you can just search for it. You have
links below.
You have to add our F-Droid repo to get it.
I think it's already in the description, like below. I think I have the F-Droid links and stuff in there. I think you should be able to figure stuff out. What are the plans for the Android App Store? Because I read the terms of service like for that.
We're still figuring out when is the good time. We're thinking about after we fix the battery issues.
Yeah, exactly. So I know people, like I know in my personal surroundings, people who are running the app constantly as well.
I am.
And I know.
I force everything through the app. But I don't have internet without the app.
Okay, good. But we have other people, of course, as well, who are like not us. And they told me as well, like it has sort of like from their perspective a 10% hit over the day. That's a guesstimation. Yeah, it's not accurate, but sort of like it has. If you're already like if until now you run till the end of the day with 10% left, you will not be able to finish the day probably with the SPN app or like with Portmaster and SPN enabled.
That's important note here. Portmaster Android.
And we have a user. HRA4242 says loves an SPN on Android so far.
Yeah,
very cool.
That's the whole point. Portmaster Android is just the SPN feature right now. It does not do security DNS or the privacy filter, so it's not a firewall yet. It's just doing the SPN feature right now. We are working, of course, on the other stuff, but that will take a bit longer. We are continuing to go as fast as we can with Android. So we're not kind of taking our time here. We're actually speeding things as fast as we can. But especially with privacy filter, there's so much UI stuff going on, and so much like how can we put all this information that you have on the desktop somehow onto this small screen. So that's a challenge that we have to go through here. We are working on it, but it'll take a little longer. But SPN is working great so far, and we hope to have settings soon. So right now you don't even have settings, you just have SPN in the default configuration. It's just on and that's it. Settings are coming. One of the next steps.
Yeah. Blind is no, not Blind. Dash was thanking us to solve the layer 8 problem regarding privacy with your software. I don't think that we fully do that. Like you can, like we don't stop you from accessing Facebook and sharing everything that you want.
You can stop yourself from accessing Facebook though. So we there's a big tech filter list now.
Yeah.
So you can just click the Facebook, pink, and that was it. And Facebook no more.
Yeah, but that of course is sort of like nuclear.
Then Facebook has become Meta.
Yeah. So
jokes.
Yeah. Of course, like you could have done that before as well, but we now, like, due to like somebody asking, have a big tag section in the filter list. I think this is already in stable as well, like with 11. Yeah. So you can go in there and there's big tech section. Now you can disable all big tech. I think it's Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook.
Yeah, the big five.
Big five, yeah. If you click and disable all of them, a lot of the internet won't work for you. It's not enabled by default. And so that's where I'm like, Dash, I appreciate you saying this, but you still need to, like, if you have somebody in your life who you would consider a layer 8 problem, you still need to educate them.
Yeah.
Portmaster does a lot, and that's what I said. Like, it sort of like gets you the first step there, but because it's supposed to be the first step and not the final destination, like you can get to a very high place with it, but like it's from the defaults are designed to be a first step, and then to enable you to sort of like do more and more and more as you go. So please.
I recently read a very fun quote on the elephant site.
It's in Mammoth.
I'm not sure. I think it's elephant. So where someone was like the whole like thing about the rickrolling. So rickrolling, if you don't know that, rickrolling is like sending someone a link to the Rick Astley video and having them click on it.
Never gonna give you up.
Never gonna give you up. So that's kind of like, I don't know where it started actually, but that has done more to educate people about clicking on links than any cybersecurity lecture or like training has ever done.
Cool.
because people have been like tricking other people so much to click on the Rickroll video that people have grown like cautious on clicking on stuff.
That's
so
great.
That's actually a really fun perspective on this. So I think we should start Rickrolling again a lot more, because that just like trains our like cybersecurity skills. No?
Yes. Like we on an individual level, yes. Portmaster, no.
We could Rickroll all our users.
No, yeah, this is not gonna happen. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, this is so not gonna happen. But exactly, no.
Maybe
interesting.
That's a cool April 1st joke.
I'm so thankful April's almost over again. So
I got 1 year to prepare this. Great.
I'm just thinking that this might also be a stat that's too good to be true. Like, it's people. So if it is true, very cool. And I think it's a very safe way to educate people in regards to not clicking links. But I'm not actually sure, like, if this is true.
Me neither. But I just found it an interesting perspective, because that's something that people do, and people get tricked into so much, so they gain so much experience in losing at cybersecurity that they kind of train them, because that's what trains us, losing.
Rickrolling. Well,
I found that was funny.
Well.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Something else about Portmaster you want to share?
Let me think.
We've got our first like experience. Somebody was installing Portmaster in Southern Asia. In the Discord, it's public, so this is why I'm sharing it. on the live stream. It was the first time that we heard that the install, because it's downloading basically everything during the install, has such a big impact there that it takes hours to download Portmaster, even though that person claims to have a very good internet connection. We're looking into this. If you are experiencing the Portmaster install to take longer than, I don't know, a minute, let us know, please.
Or maybe let's say 5 minutes, because not everyone has such a good uplink.
Yeah, and you said you will improve that as well, that it tells you which step it's on.
So in the future versions, we'll have more information about that during install, depending on which installer you're using, because I think Windows will show it. I'm not sure right now.
We'll see.
But the Linux installers don't give that information anyway. But yeah, it's super weird because we actually set up a small cluster just for pushing updates. So we can confidently push updates at least at gigabit speed, sustained. So we can push quite a lot of data out the update system. And which means, of course, if there's an issue with that connection, there's something going on in between. And we just don't know where. It could be just that the ISP, there is throttling data to Europe, or the line they're using is just so bad that it's full all the time because that was the cheapest line or the only line they have to Europe. So that's kind of, we're pushing limits of the internet itself here. So we're thinking about we have to gather information first on where does it happen.
So this is why I'm saying if it takes longer than a minute, you say 5, but this person was above 20 minutes, I think half an hour or something. If it takes that long, let us know. We don't see it. Gather information means you need to tell us.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Exactly. Tell us,
please
and
do.
then we can try to maybe, if one of you has the time to do so, we can maybe kind of set up a small server somewhere that just mirrors the updates, and see if that works better. So the updates system that we're having now is based in Germany, and that we haven't had problems with that.
We haven't heard of any. This is the reason why I'm bringing it up on the live stream, because it's the first time it happened, and so if it happens to you, please let us know. I think especially I know it's very early in the morning for our North American friends watching, but if you watch this later on, and if you're in North America and you could tell us if it's bad for you as well, please let us know. For us here in Europe, it works. It works fairly well, I guess. So I'm not expecting too many things going on in the live stream. They're still talking, just so you know, about rickrolling people. So
I see. Okay. I saw something here.
So yeah. Exactly. No. Let us know. The update system, we sort of never heard about it, and if nobody tells us that it's bad, we work on other stuff, like the Android app, the installer in general.
But getting updates out, having people install the software is really important. So we want to really have everyone be able to enjoy Portmaster. So yeah. So this is important. If it doesn't work for you, please help us. That's something I want to talk about, I think. That kind of we're investing a couple issues with the installers.
Yeah.
So they all should work, but they're kind of just some things with the versions and kind of NuGet on Windows, and something with a minor issue with Arch, a minor issue with Fedora. So just there's no big thing. It's just a lot of small things here and there that we need to fix.
And in general, they work.
Yeah, like in general, they all work. So there's no big thing here.
Exactly. The main thing that we're getting is people like, oh, this is an older version. It will auto update afterwards. Please just like, if it says 0.9.8, I think is the AUR thing.
Yeah, it will update your newest version during install. You won't get outdated stuff.
And I think it even says it if in the AUR.
Yeah, but I mean, we are version 1.0 now. And of course, if it's 0. something, it just feels weird.
Oh, I understand.
I get that.
Yeah,
we're working on it.
But it's like...
It's okay.
It's written. It's okay, and it's written there.
Yeah.
So that's basically that. Quickly wanted to say Dash was talking about sort of like how to double check links and so on. I think it's a good practice, especially if you saw what happened to LTT and stuff. If you open a lot of links and you don't want to spend the time clicking like through everything, auto delete cookies on your browsers and don't like maybe run on a separate machine or in a virtual machine. All of this like inbound stuff happening. That's
there's a couple tricks you can use if you're unsure if a link is good or not. Of course, if it's supposed to contain private data, it's a lot more difficult. If it doesn't, you can just use VirusTotal, which is
I think that's what
antivirus search engine by Google, because Google loves search engines, and you can also do a search engine with antiviruses.
And of course, VirusTotal sounds so
total.
And yeah, and I feel so secure if I click on something that's VirusTotal, and you're like, oh, this sounds like
it's a nice service. It's a nice
infected.
Service, and you can check things there.
Can we not VirusTotal maybe like ping it every time? But people have been asking about sort of like stuff like that Antiscript is doing, where you can click and inspect a link. People have been asking about this for Portmaster. I don't want to sort of like feature suggest here, but just out of curiosity.
It's something that I think would be cool at some point. We just don't have the resources right now to go that way. Would be interesting though, that could be a quick win, just to provide links to certain things, kind of just the domain and stuff like that. So definitely kind of pointing in more directions is definitely something we want to do, and empower you to kind of learn about the connections and about the internet and what things are going on there. So definitely. Another thing you can do is, if you want to look at a URL, you can use one of these archive websites to kind of use to view an old version. They sometimes have a version that's a day old. So it's actually new. So
yeah, Dash is suggesting something similar. Run a separate temporary cloud-based web browser. So
that's perfect too. If you have access to something like that, I think Cloudflare offers that. A couple other companies do too. So
no, I was just like, you're starting saying something, and I already read something similar from him, and I'm just so good. Educate people about privacy and educate them about links, and don't click on shady links. Yeah, be aware in that regard. Cool. I think I saw somebody typing over in the Discord, but no message has arrived yet. I think we're good on the live chat as well. Do you have something you want to... I'm sort of like starting the wrap up. Do you want to say something else? Do you have any idea? I'm not putting you on the spot.
Nothing top of my head.
Actually curious. Oh, now the question came in. Okay.
Regarding the Android app, have you encountered any limitations on Android that in theory prevented full implementation of the Portmaster desktop feature set?
Great question.
The obvious limitations are CPU memory, but I think it's gonna be okay. If you have an old phone with little storage, that's not gonna be fun. Other than that, I think from a system perspective, on Android we're okay, because we can just sideload. I don't have to care about what Google thinks about Portmaster. So that's really cool.
And with iOS?
That feature is coming to iOS soon, thanks to our EU regulator overlord. So
you think that at least iPhone Spot in Europe with the USB-C charging port and side loading enabled will be good.
Yeah.
Who knows about the US,
If they have their own version without USB-C.
They already have, I think, one without a SIM tray slot and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, Who knows what happens to North America, but like...
someone's gonna start selling expensive EU iPhones in the US.
EU iPhone, no, absolutely, I can.
Okay. But other than that, I think from an interface perspective, we'll be able to do pretty much everything that we're doing on desktop. So I don't think, at least on the kind of current version of Android, older versions that have missing features.
What do you consider current? Just out of curiosity,
at least
as well.
Last 3 versions.
Which is?
10, 11, 13.
Okay. Oh, just
curious. Wait, 13, 10, 11, 12. 13 is coming, right?
Not sure.
I'm a bit out of sync. I just have my Calyx and auto update and like whatever. So yeah, last 3 versions should be okay. And of course, with Android, please always use a phone that is not end to life, that actually
gets updates
because phones are just the most targeted thing because there's just so many of them. Please use an Android or iOS phone that still receives updates. On Android, if your hardware vendor is end of life, you can maybe switch to an alternative OS that still gives you updates, but receiving updates with phones is really important.
Yeah.
As is on desktop, always do system updates. For security, of course, like privacy wise, there might be stuff in there that you have to be careful with, but security wise, always update.
Okay, HRA4242 asked if there won't be an iOS app. No, we will be working on it. Even without side loading it, it might not have full functionality. We have not started working on it. We have not started, we want to finish Android first. So hold your horses.
But it's coming. It's planned. We're not dropping it. Especially with side loading coming. Our kind of efforts will not be futile.
Yeah. Innovator Dev, who's also very active on Discord, said hello. So I wanted to shout out him as well. And last message from Dash was, imagine being arrested for counter espionage. Not sure. Whatever. Yeah. In the US for running SPN software on your iPhone. Hashtag Huawei. Okay. Not sure what I will say to that.
Well, Tor has been good. So, of course, Tor is US technology.
US Navy technology.
Built by the US Navy, funded by other parts of the US government that you can look up yourself.
We'll see.
So, of course, that's okay. Good point. Maybe like the evil European software. No, I really think that will be a problem in the US.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for joining us. Sorry for everybody who got here to the tail end. As said at the get-go, yes, 3 o'clock was the originally scheduled time, and it will be 3 o'clock in 2 weeks if I don't mess up again. So we want to keep the cadence. For next time, maybe we will have some more questions in advance, so we know what you guys would want us to talk about. So either leave them in the comments below or send us an email. If you just enjoy us talking and looking through topics as we go, that's fine as well. For me, the important part is to be here every second week, to have an hour so that you sort of like get to see us, see that we're
doing stuff.
We're doing stuff. No.
Having fun talking.
No, yeah, that's true. No, and it's being so interactive for me at least is more fun than writing a blog.
It is definitely also very valuable for us because we get to like listen to you and learn from you, like what your questions are and what your concerns are, and like helps us kind of feel the pulse of the community and where we're going.
Yeah, and thank you for so many like people being here for this live stream. Hope to see you again in 2 weeks, 3 o'clock, and I will be doing the post thingamajig and everything again faster and earlier, so you can leave comments and stuff in the new thread on the Discord as well.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. I guess for this week that's been it. Thank you for watching.
Thanks again.